Hello, this is Food Safety on the Go, Module 1, Food Safety Basics. This covers basic food safety information. Please make sure you have a printed copy of the pre-test, the post-test, and the activity for Module 1 before you continue. This module is for all staff and volunteers of a home-delivered meal program. It explains why food safety matters when providing meals to older adults. At this time, we ask that you take a few minutes to complete the written pre-test for Module 1. Please answer the questions as best you can, and we'll ask you the same questions at the end of the module for you to see what you've learned. Please pause the video while you take the pre-test. Maximize your screen and click on the pause button in the lower left corner of the screen. When you finish the pre-test, you can click on the play button in the lower left corner to resume the video. Foodborne illness, often called food poisoning, is any illness that is caused by eating food that is contaminated. A foodborne illness outbreak is when two or more people get the same illness after eating the same food. Bacteria and viruses are the most common causes of foodborne illness. Bacteria that can cause foodborne illness include Salmonella and E. coli, and viruses that can cause foodborne illness include norovirus and hepatitis A. In the U.S. in 2006, an E. coli outbreak infected about 200 people in 26 states after they ate contaminated spinach. Over half of these people were hospitalized, and at least 3 people died. You can see on this map the states that were most affected by the outbreak, in dark red. In the U.S. in 2008, a Salmonella outbreak infected over 700 people in 46 states after they ate contaminated peanut butter or other peanut products. About 1/4 of infected people were hospitalized, and at least 9 died. Outbreaks like these usually make the news, but they only make up a small percent of the foodborne illness cases in the U.S. every year. Most foodborne illness cases are not part of a recognized outbreak. Foodborne illness is common. Every year, about 48 million Americans, or 1 in 6, gets a foodborne illness. About 128,000 of them go to the hospital, and 3,000 die. Adults age 50 and older are more likely to be hospitalized and die of foodborne illness. The health-related cost of foodborne illness in the U.S. is thought to be about $152 billion a year. Harmful bacteria and viruses in food go to the stomach and intestines, where they can cause the first symptoms of foodborne illness. Symptoms may not appear for days or weeks after a person eats a contaminated food. People with foodborne illness may think they have the stomach flu or the 24-hour flu. However, the flu or influenza is mainly a respiratory illness caused by influenza viruses, which are usually spread from person to person through coughing or sneezing. Foodborne illness, on the other hand, is mainly an intestinal disease caused by eating food that contains harmful bacteria or viruses. Foodborne illness can lead to serious complications or even death. The food supply in the U.S. is one of the safest in the world. However, nowadays many foods are produced on a larger scale than before, go through more processing, and come from further away. A few decades ago, food was grown, produced, and distributed locally. Now many foods travel over 1,000 miles to get from a farm to a person's plate. About 20% of all foods eaten in the U.S. come from other countries, which may have different food production practices. So there are many possible sources of food contamination. Harmful bacteria that contaminate food can come from many different sources. Bacteria can come from the soil, water, air, plants, animals, and humans. Food can be contaminated during growing, harvesting, processing, storing, shipping, preparation in the kitchen, holding, or meal delivery. Viruses that can cause foodborne illness mainly come from humans and can be transmitted to food by an infected person who handles the food. People can transfer harmful bacteria or viruses to their hands after using the restroom. If they do not wash their hands properly, they can then spread the harmful viruses or bacteria to food. Most bacteria and viruses that cause foodborne illness go unnoticed because they don't change the way food looks, tastes, or smells. Bacteria that spoil food and change its smell, taste, or texture are usually different from the bacteria that cause foodborne illness. Bacteria can multiply in food, while viruses can only multiply inside living cells, such as in a person's body. Bacteria grow best in certain conditions. Most harmful bacteria grow best at temperatures between 41 and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. When conditions are right, bacteria can double in number every 20 minutes. Within 2 hours, one bacterium can multiply into 64 bacteria. Within 10 hours, one bacterium can multiply into 1 billion bacteria. Some bacteria can produce toxins, either in food or in people's intestines, which can cause foodborne illness. Some bacteria can also change into a different form called spores. Spores can survive in difficult conditions, such as at high temperatures. When conditions get better, spores can change back into active bacteria, which can cause foodborne illness. Older adults are especially vulnerable to foodborne illness. With age, the immune system can become weaker and have a harder time fighting off harmful bacteria and viruses. Stomach acid, which limits the number of harmful bacteria and viruses that enter the intestines, often decreases with age. For this reason, older adults can often become infected by lower numbers of harmful bacteria and viruses. Health conditions such as diabetes, arthritis, cancer, heart disease, and kidney disease, as well as the side effects of some medications for these conditions, can weaken the immune system and increase a person's risk of getting a foodborne illness. According to national surveys, home-delivered meal clients have higher rates of these health conditions than the general population and are therefore at higher risk of foodborne illness. Studies have found that in the general population, most people do not handle and store food safely, which increases their risk of foodborne illness. It's important that clients be taught how to handle and store meals safely. A foodborne illness outbreak can cost a home-delivered meal program much more than the cost of properly training staff and volunteers in food safety. It only takes one mistake for an outbreak to happen. Besides causing ill clients, an outbreak can lead to lawsuits against the program, low morale among staff and volunteers, negative attention from the media, a bad reputation, and the program may even have to close. The good news is that foodborne illness is preventable. Most foodborne illness can be avoided if food is handled properly. To keep food safe, it's necessary to buy food from approved suppliers, cook food to a safe temperature, keep foods at safe temperatures and store them correctly, clean and sanitize equipment properly, and avoid cross-contamination, which is the transfer of harmful bacteria or viruses from one surface or food to another, and maintain good personal hygiene. Proper food safety policies and procedures are needed throughout the flow of food, which includes purchasing, receiving, storage, preparation, holding, and delivery. It takes a team effort to develop and follow these policies and procedures. It's important to train staff and volunteers in food safety as soon as they start working or volunteering at a program, and at least once a year after that. To keep food safe, it's important to control food temperatures throughout the flow of food. Procedures are needed to make sure that food is stored at the correct temperature, cooked to a safe temperature, cooled and reheated properly, and held and delivered at a safe temperature. Many bacteria that cause foodborne illness grow best between 41 and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. This is known as the temperature danger zone. Foods that support the growth of harmful bacteria need time and temperature control to be safe. These are known as time temperature control for safety foods, or TCS foods. In the Federal Food Code, these are also called potentially hazardous foods. Some examples of TCS foods are dairy products, eggs, meat, poultry, seafood, cooked rice and vegetables, tofu, sprouts, and cut melons, tomatoes, and leafy greens. TCS foods should be kept out of the temperature danger zone. Staff and volunteers need to be in good health and maintain good personal hygiene so they don't transmit harmful viruses or bacteria to clients. Washing hands is one of the best ways to reduce the risk of foodborne illness, as it can keep harmful viruses and bacteria from spreading. People should wash their hands in warm, soapy water for at least 20 seconds before and after handling food, after using the restroom, and after touching one's hair, face, body, clothing, or anything else that could contaminate hands. Here's a video from the Centers for Disease Control, or CDC, that shows how to wash hands well.
Turn on the water, wet your hands, apply a good amount of soap and lather up, and then focus on washing your hands for about 20 seconds, about the time it takes to sing Happy Birthday twice. Focus on washing the front of your hands, the back, in between the fingers, around the nails, and so on. And then rinse everything off. Use something to wipe your hands after that, preferably something disposable like a paper towel, and then use that to turn off the tap as well. If you get a chance, use that to also open the door to the bathroom as you're leaving.
Staff and volunteers who work with food should also keep their fingernails short and clean, bathe or shower before working with food, and keep their hair clean. They should wear clean clothes and a clean hair restraint when working with food. If food service workers wear aprons and leave a food preparation area, they should first take off their aprons and store them properly. They should remove any jewelry from their hands and arms before working with food. And they should not eat, drink, smoke, or chew gum or tobacco while handling food or working in a food preparation area. Monitoring is observing and taking measurements to make sure that food safety procedures are being followed. For example, food temperatures should regularly be measured and written down throughout the flow of food to make sure that food is kept at safe temperatures. Programs need to consistently monitor and enforce food safety procedures to help keep food safe and lower the chance that clients will get a foodborne illness. Now for this module's activity, which is a crossword puzzle. Please pause the video and take a few minutes to work on the crossword puzzle. Here are the answers. Please pause the video if you'd like to check your answers. At this time, please pause the video and take a few minutes to complete the written post-test for Module 1. That's all for Module 1. Thank you.